All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another fun-filled edition of the weekly real estate backstory. We do this every Monday morning at 9 a.m. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realty and Realtor Partners. My wonderful partner and bride.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And the real boss. I mean, for just being real honest with you.
I don't know about that.
So we got a lot of really cool things we kind of want to run over with everyone this week. So first thing is, I kind of want to start off talking about, did you know that selling real estate
is
harder than rocket science?
It is.
It is.
Guess what?
Because some folks would be like, it's not rocket science. Really? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but Elon Musk, who is like Mr. Rocket Science right there, pretty smart guy.
Like a trillion bears.
A bazillion, trillionaire kind of thing. And he's been trying to sell his house for sale by owner, which I think everyone in our industry is like, dumb move, why does somebody really smart do stupid things? And so finally this week, he hired an agent because, quote, he thought that buyers would just reach out to him and talk turkey kind of thing. And so he finally listed his house with a real estate agent. And that's really the right way to go. He used a realtor, but I think it's just so funny that a lot of folks are like, oh, real estate's so easy. I mean, here's like one of the smartest big brains out there kind of thing.
Rocket scientist.
Yeah. And like all of a sudden it's like, you know what, maybe there is a lot more to this whole real estate thing than people thought. So I just thought that was kind of humorous. I kind of enjoyed that. I'm not gonna say I reveled in his pain, but it did kind of amuse me.
Honestly, there's just so many characteristics out there. And it's our job to kind of filter those things out and bring our client the best offer.
Yeah. So also, another new trend that we're kind of seeing out there is we're having a lot of buyers that are really starting to throw off, especially buyers agents, with some questions that we find buyers agents are not really that prepared to handle, primarily with things that operate around the home offices. There has been a big switch, of course, with working from home now, but now it's getting a lot more consecrated. Some folks just don't want to go back to the office. And so we're seeing where a lot of buyers are coming with very specific tech questions that we're not always prepared to answer. And so some things that when we're preparing to go showing showing properties, and when we're sending houses to clients, we're seeing where they come back and said, who's the Wi-Fi provider for this? Where can I get internet?
What's the Wi-Fi like? Because a lot of folks that they have either fiber optic requirement for their home, or a very powerful booster for their Wi-Fi or their internet service, because work at home.
We're seeing where sometimes buyers are saying, hey, are any of the interior rooms soundproofed? Do they have insulation inside the walls? How about light? Is natural light, available for these offices? These are all important questions that in the past, it was just kind of like, it's just an extra bedroom. It's just flex space kind of thing. And now we're seeing where more and more buyers, and we need to prepare ourselves.
To have the information available, if inquired, or at least know what the carriers are doing in those local area.
All right, and then moving on. So working with millennials, we're getting more information coming out about the millennials right now. And the millennial generation is, it's one of those things where when the millennial generation came out, we just called everyone millennials. But the challenge is that millennials now range from 25 to 40. And that's a pretty wide range.
A huge range.
And it's also the largest segment we have in generational segment we have in the US. But what a 25-year-old looks in buying and selling real estate, and what a 40-year-old looks at in buying and selling real estate, not really the same thing. So we really are kind of seeing that we need to make sure that we're educating ourselves, and we really can't get into this trap of like, all millennials are the same way, all millennials, because first of all, we have two different groups of millennials. We have younger millennials, we have older millennials kind of thing. And overall, still, as far as that whole millennial group, they account for 42% of all buyers for the last year. Like 4 out of 10 of our buyers were between 25 and 40. And so, that's a pretty significant jump right there, and a pretty significant, not jump, piece of our, so we really need to understand
Well,
them
what I
a
find
little
out
bit
most
more.
helpful is sometimes if you just have a consultation with a buyer and finding
Yeah.
out what is their hot button, what is
Mhm.
negotiable, what is not negotiable, and this will help along the way.
Yeah. Well, also we're finding that, the younger the buyer, the more they're going to lean on us. They really, really need more from us, the younger that the buyer is. And so when we
And they
have those
love,
younger
and they
buyers,
have
we've
a
got to,
lot of myth,
yeah,
y'all. They get internet overfill and they get all these myth and they think, so this is where you need to educate them.
yeah. I mean, especially this generation, this is the Google generation, right?
Mhm.
And they'll Google a question to anything. They'll do a lot of research on their own. But when they find a professional that can help them do more than just find out answers on Google, and then most of the time it's not about the information you can find, it's about what's true, what's real. Because we all know, like, if it's on the internet, it's true, right? No. So, but being able to have someone that you trust, kind of thing. And so, for the younger buyers versus the older millennials, kind of thing, they're looking at, private home tours, taking, going on showings. They
Mhm.
value that 90%, value that very high, kind of thing. Deciding the details of their offer, they're completely going to be leaning on us about it. 85% for our younger millennials versus 75 for our older ones. Guidance on legal terms, any requirements, identifying homes, the whole 9 yards. So the younger the buyer, the more we have to amp
Mhm.
up our engagement as well as our education with them. Now, the other thing here that we found is that, that you have, if you're going to try and attract yourself to millennials, you really need a strong online presence. Now, the younger millennials, 25% of young millennials found their agent
Line.
online, compared to only 20% of our older millennials. So, that online presence that we have is really, really important out there. The older the millennial, the more that they're going to be referral based, which
Mhm.
is, the vast majority of agents work off referrals, that kind of stuff. Only 4% of the older millennials found their agents at an open house or for sale, for sale sign, kind of thing, as opposed to 10% of the younger millennials. So the younger millennials are finding their agents at open houses and things like that
Whoever is gonna serve
online.
them first.
Right, because
So,
they haven't built those kind of relationships. So, getting folks who are going to write a lot of reviews for us and help us with our internet presence is such an important piece out there.
and I believe that's gonna be a huge segment down the road. So start your data collection, start your reviews.
Now, in direct contrast to that, we have the seniors. And our senior group says, there was a poll out by NAR said, I'm sorry, it was by American Advisors Group, said, what was your smartest financial decision? What do you think it was? Buying a home.
Mhm.
That's the number one most important financial decision. So, as far as like that advice from a senior buyer to a millennial buyer, kind of thing, what's the smartest thing you can do? Buy a home,
Wow.
kind of thing. 55% of our seniors say they have paid off their home and they're living mortgage free. Over half of our seniors do not have a mortgage at all. And that's part of
That's
why we have
awesome.
so much strength in our mortgage market. Now, we are coming up a week away, roughly. Sunday is going to be yeah.
Halloween.
And so the Nightmare on Elm Street house is now listed.
For
Now,
3.25
now this is in
million.
LA, so it is. Everybody thinks it's out in the Midwest somewhere, but really, Nightmare on Elm Street, it is a house in Los Angeles. Now, if you're a smart listing agent, what do? Well, you get Freddy Krueger to help you list your home. All offers have to be in by midnight on Halloween, which is kind of funny. I think it's really, really cute too. I also think this would be a great opportunity for all my social savvy friends out there on the internet. Be like, hey, if you're interested in placing an offer on the Nightmare on Elm Street home, get those offers in. Let's place that offer by midnight on Halloween. I just think it's a cute thing. So just
It'll be a good, cute
it's
engagement for you
weird
to
and
reach
quirky.
out.
Yeah.
No, honestly, to reach out to your past
Yeah.
clients
Now,
as a haha.
on the weird side of things, Realtor.com did a survey and said, is a haunted house a deal breaker? And guess what? No. Guess what's most important, especially in our market right now? Price. like, like if the house is a good deal, We don't mind things that go bump in the night. 40% of folks said they would need a price reduction in order to choose a haunted house over a non-haunted house. So, that whole thing about price is king, at some point, price, we'll buy anything for the right price, basically, kind of thing. So, don't think that, especially right now, when we're talking about repairs, not repairs, what is it going on with a house? What we're seeing really going on with overall pricing and housing, I'm telling you, price is king.
Yeah.
It is still king. And even though we're being a little tongue in cheek with the whole haunted house thing, it really does come down to price. And we're going to talk a lot more about that moving forward here, kind of thing. On the national economy kind of thing. Initial claims came down to 293,000. Now, the reason that's a big deal is for like pre-pandemic and through the pandemic, the benchmark has been we have to get down under 300,000 claims a week. Guess what?
We're there.
We're there. All right.
Awesome.
We're 293,000 claims. And so right now there's about 10 million job openings in the US. We have a massive thing going on as far as like people shifting careers and wages are continuing to drive up right now.
Migration right now on jobs.
So we're just seeing where the economy and especially the labor market is really, really much stronger. Now, one of our challenges moving forward is mortgages. Mortgages are continuing, interest rates are going up. So right now we're running at a 3.09 this week for mortgage rates. Now, it was just 3 weeks ago that we had been running in the 2.8s. And so right now we're up about 0.3 of a point in just a matter of about a month kind of thing. And that is going to continue to we're going to see those rates inching up. So the Fed came out and said that they are planning on a gradual tapering process. So, they said that this is probably going to begin as early as mid-November, which is
right
2 or 3 weeks away kind of thing. And so and right now, the Fed buys around $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities every month. They're going to drop that by about $5 billion a month. And I know it's hard to talk about numbers like billions
it's half what they're buying right now.
Oh, no, it's going from they're going to go from 40 down to $35 billion, but it is going to keep working it down. They currently buy 10 billion in treasury, 5 billion in more. They're going to drop treasury by 10 and mortgage-backed securities by 5. And they're going to keep tapering that amount down. But that's going to be $5 billion that's a lot of mortgages. Okay. Now, these are good investments for the government to make. I do believe that, these are not bad mortgages or anything like that. But the fact is there's going to be a lot less buyers. We're going to see rates going up. So we want to get folks locked in. On the good side, we keep switching back and forth. FHA says that they are going to make desktop appraisals permanent. So they announced that they are looking to make this change that really came out from the pandemic to be a permanent thing. I don't really hate this. Where I would much rather see FHA appraisals go is to level the playing field. I really feel that FHA, VA, and conventional should all have pretty much the same appraisal standards, because that's one of the big changes that we have out there. So, and while I'm not necessarily discouraged, my only concern with doing desktop appraisals is with desktop appraisals, we kind of see, big swings going either way.
The problem with that too, listing agent, if you have really bad picture compared to professional photography,
it's going to hurt.
Your value of your house will have an impact on that tremendously.
It really is a very big deal. If your photos look like garbage, that's going to hurt your appraisal when they're doing for a desktop appraisal. It's a big, big deal. So going cheap on the photos is going to hurt your appraisals now. Fannie Mae also in the news says that it's going to increase its mortgage rate forecast for next year. They're looking at an average rate of 3.3 next year. I think we're going to be closer to 3.5 next year, personally, kind of thing. They were thinking it was going to be 3.1 next year. They're saying 3.3. We're looking at it being somewhere in the mid 3s up there. They're also increasing their predictions for next year on how much property values will rise. They're thinking that property value is going to rise about 7%. We feel it's going to be much closer to 5, mainly because the interest rate, I mean, not interest rate, the inflation. Inflation's really starting to rear its ugly head in a lot of different ways. And if that inflation doesn't get under control, that is going to impact housing a lot more so, kind of thing.
Well, I'm sure all of y'all have experience right now,
Yeah.
just going to the grocery store and the gas price. It has risen.
Yeah.
Not just a little bit, but a lot on gas.
Well,
So it makes
everything
a
really. I mean, what's not
difference.
gone up right
Right.
now?
And you guys also heard the shipping containers just in docks at LA and in California, to where, you know what, it's going to cost more to ship
Yeah.
all these items.
You know, well, it's hard to get that stuff sitting on your front door every day. All right. You know, it's that time of year where everybody starts putting out their forecast for next year, and the Mortgage Bankers Association, the same kind of thing. They're looking for purchase or originations, hard word for me to say, to increase by 9% next year. Now, a lot of that is really going to be dependent on like they're looking at the refinance mortgage
Right.
market for next year drying up. It's pretty much going to be,
Well, if you think about
Yeah.
everybody refi during that, when their interest
Yep.
rate was 2.7, 2.8, I mean, come on, those are incredible interest rates.
now in contrast to whereas Fannie felt that interest rates next year were going to be at 3.3, the Mortgage Bankers Association, which is, I mean, these are the folks that write the mortgages, feel that by the end of next year, mortgage rates are going to be at 4%. So, and I think it's somewhere in between those two is where we're probably going to
Remember, we
end up.
talked about this, a 1 point is gonna cost your buyer on average $50,000 in purchase power.
So it hurts. And so we need to get more and more folks wrapped in, kind of thing. Active forbearance, we've seen where, you know, the pandemic's been running for about 18 months. That's how long a lot of the original forbearance plans ran for. And so you can see that this is how many active forbearance plans, and the active forbearance plans have been tapering down. Gosh, ever since it hit its initial spike, you can kind of see here, it's kind of tapered down week after week after week. And right now in the news, you'll see a lot of people talking about forbearance and is this going to shift the market and that kind of thing. Well, I want you to kind of see really what we're talking about, because you know, on this graph here, it has what the forbearance rate is. These are just the people in forbearance, not the people who are actually delinquent. These are the people who are in forbearance. It also partners it with what the unemployment rate. But if you look at the light blue line, that's what the actual delinquency rate is. And if you look at where our delinquency rate is, this is for the last 15 years, folks. And you can see where our delinquency rate is now versus 2006, all the way through.
Yeah, well, that matter.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you think of like 2013, 2014, 2015, we are
way
4 and 5 percentage points lower than that right now. So look, there's just, you know, we don't see that this is going to happen. You know, matter of fact, if you actually start looking at the numbers, so there are a whole lot of things going on right now, but only 3% of mortgage holders have less than 10% equity. 3% of the folks in that with mortgage, not even the folks who have forbearance, only 3% of all the mortgages in the United States have less than 10% equity. If you get 10% equity, you're going to be able to sell over there. 98% of borrowers in active forbearance have 10% equity. 98. So that means 2% of the folks who are in forbearance have less than 10% equity. We're talking about a really, really small percentage, especially when you look at the number of people in forbearance versus how we're really looking, kind of thing. So, and so even if you added 18 months of deferred principal, interest, taxes, and that kind of stuff, only 7% of borrowers in forbearance would have less than 10% of equity in their home.
So with that said, you know, those borrower can actually break even if you look at commission and
so we're just not looking at that being a huge driver for us moving forward. As a matter of fact, we're seeing.
The only thing is, Alan, I do have to comment that a lot of the seller or a homeowner do not know what their rights are, and they do not know how to navigate around that. So it is,
Well, I will agree with you at a certain point. I think the biggest thing is that when folks, my experience is that when folks get in trouble, they shove their head in the sand.
mhm,
And don't get me wrong, no one likes to
to
address
admit,
bad news. No one,
right.
and a lot of times you don't know who to turn to. So reaching out and being available to folks, letting them know that there's some options for them. Most of the mortgage companies want to work through things right now. They're being very, very accommodating. So, but you can't just shove your head in the sand with it though.
Right.
So we are seeing where the housing market is creeping towards balance. I think it's a really good way to describe it too when we say that it is creeping towards balance, because we're not looking at a massive shift. We're just looking at things starting to level out a little bit more. Is it still going to be a seller's market? Yep. And are we going to see a big shift? I don't see it coming. And we're going to kind of run through some numbers here and kind of show you what that is. So you can kind of see that, we're still seeing home values are continuing to rise. Month over month, those are starting to taper down. Last month, it was only up 2.3, which is much more moderate. We're really glad to see that this is in the Atlanta region, that property
Mhm.
value in the Atlanta region in the last month only went up 2.3% over last year. That's really good. Now, everyone, if you have a house, you want it to be worth 15-20% more all the time. That's just, excuse me, not realistic. This is our for sale inventory for the Atlanta region. Now we'll get into more of those details here in just a minute. We'll look at some more numbers here, kind of thing. But inventory is still continuing to be a challenge for us. We were seeing inventory tick up, and inventory is a little bit better than 2019, but it's not better than 2020. And I'll kind of show you that. So our inventory boost is not enough to satisfy our fall house hunters. We know that a lot of our buyers have been watching interest rates. They know this is the right time to buy.
Mhm.
They know that this is the right time to take advantage of still low interest rates. And so we are seeing some really good activity going on, kind of thing. Now, what does that activity look like? So this shows the last 3 years. And so you can see where our asking prices have been. And so this is what we were talking about earlier, as far as, asking prices dropped a little bit last month. And so that's a good sign that we're starting to see. But some of that is going to be seasonal, right? Well,
Correct.
we are moving more into a more seasonal trend, and it's about time we had one, kind of thing. Pending sales are only up 3% from 2020. However, pending sales are up almost 50% from 2019. So the activity level going on out there, still really strong.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And if you look at last year was our best fall ever, right? And now what's happening? We're only beating about 3%, but we're still
Still
beating
beating
last
it.
year, kind of
Correct.
thing, which was our best fall
And
since I've been in
yes.
real estate, kind of thing. Now, new listings of homes are down 8% from 2020. We are still up 5% from 2019. So, but if you look, you can kind of see what our trend is really running here. We are looking at normal seasonal trends for inventory.
Mhm.
Less folks put their homes on the market into the fall, into the holidays. A lot of folks don't want to sell through Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. And some of that's just, it's the time of year, kind of thing. So, 46% of pending sales went under contract within 2 weeks. That is still continuing to be a really high number. So again, shows the strength of the market and what's going on. We still have more buyers than we have sellers, and it is still driving contracts. If your house is not, if your listing is not under contract within 2 weeks, gee, I wonder what it could be, man. Price. Thank you. That's it. All right. 33% of our pending sales are under contract within 1 week. So by the same token, a third of our sales are under contract within the first week. Days on market is finally trending up. Actually, not finally, it has been trending up, kind of thing. And so we're up to about 22 days right now. This is on a national average. It was as low as 15. So we are continuing to see a trend where days on market is increasing. Is it shot back up to where it was in 2020 or in 2019 even? No, but it is trending to a little bit more level market.
And you'll see the data like this for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 15 was incredibly low.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we finally got under less than half of homes sold above list price. We have been running well over half of homes were selling above list price. And so as of October 17th, 45.1% of homes sold at or above list price. We're still seeing a lot of full price offers out there. But we're also seeing where the crazy priced homes, they're not getting the traction. They really
they're
aren't.
not.
And so that's why you can see that the percentage of homes that had price drops has increased. Okay. The red line represents this year, and you can kind of see that we've got a real steady trend of more and more listings are getting price drops. And, we beat out, we now have more than we had in 2020, and we're about to surpass where we were in 2019. So, our buyers are still well educated. They know what's going on in the market. We're helping to keep them grounded and know what's going on in the market. And so as we will continue to see more homes with price drops, because the days, we just feel that the days where you can do that make me move price are not here right now.
Well, not only that, once again, the seller are pricing their home above what historically the neighborhood will hold. So therefore it's inevitable.
Now here's our sale to list price ratio. It is continuing to decline. So you can see that back during June and July, the sale to list price ratio was at its highest, I think, ever, kind of thing. And so whereas you can see a pretty steady decline on what percentage of sale to list price. We're still running at about 100%, but that trend is definitely moving down. And again, this is kind of shows what we keep talking about. The market is moderating, but it's not dropping, kind of thing. Now, in other news, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When we really want to stress this, that we encourage you to be reaching out to your clients. Gas bills are going up this year. Gas bills are going to be going up 30%. So how do you come across as being the go-to real estate person, the folks who prepare your clients, who do more than just buy and sell a home? You need to be talking to your clients out there about what can they do to prepare for higher gas bills, weather stripping, winterizing your home, storm windows, anything that we can be advising and guiding.
And also a gas company also offering what they call year-round fixed rate. So what they do is basically look at your yearly rate, what your usage are, and take that, divide by 12, and offer you a flat rate for the entire year, which can be really good for folks that are on budget. So you might want to check into that as well.
Yeah. So we're just encouraging you to reach out and really talk to your clients and position yourself as the go-to person for all things dealing with the home and real estate. So starter homes, the death of the starter homes is, this might be a bit, doom and gloom, but where have all the small homes go in the 12 to 1400 square foot range? What's been happening in the US? And you can see how from 2017 to 2021, over the last 4 years, the number of small homes in that 12 to 1400 square foot, this is really 1200, it's half. We have half the number of homes that we have. And of those homes, here's the really bad news, the price is up about $100,000. So these are still the smallest homes we have on the market. And, our starter homes are not at starter prices. They really are starting to or not starting to, but they are. And this is a concern that we have for the health of our industry, because we have such a large deficit in housing right now. If we don't have smaller homes for folks to start off with, we're going to see more and more people moving into apartments and that kind of stuff. And that's not good. That's not good for home ownership. I mean, and that's not good for building wealth inside the United States. So now part of it for sure is investors. Our investors are buying more and more. Overall, nationwide, investors account for 15% of all purchases. That's not Georgia. In Georgia, 22.9% of all homes are an investor purchase. Now that
That's
this is
huge.
all investors. So this includes some of those like ribbon purchases where it's just buying for cash and then turning around and selling it to the homeowner. It's also for all the iBuyers, and we'll talk more about Zillow here in a minute. But this is folks just flipping homes, that kind of stuff. 1 out of 5 is going to an investor right now here in Georgia. The other bad, maybe I'm not sure bad's the right word, but the other challenge for us is that they are also buying starter homes. They're buying the smaller properties
They're
and
not
the less
buying the
expensive.
luxury and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Now that in turn, guess what that's leading to? Some of the lowest percentages of first-time buyers that we've had in a long time. And I think 28% of our buyers are first-time buyers. And the thing that's really challenging about that is our largest generational group is the millennials.
Mhm.
This should be some of the highest percentages, but there's not a lot of this inventory out there. So most of our builders are building what we call move up homes, but not a
Well,
lot of our builders are
because
building.
of price point and also the demand for larger square footage due to COVID and telecommunicate working.
Yep. Now, the DOJ came out this past week and they had, there's been this weird battle going on between the Department of Justice and the National Association of Realtors. Because at first we come up with this agreement. I say we, NAR came up with
NAR
this
did.
agreement kind of thing. I didn't really have a whole lot to do with it. But then, and then the DOJ backed out of it. And that kind of got NAR's panties in a wad. And so they came back and then they sued the Department of Justice. And now the Department of Justice has come back and sued them again. And so this has just turned into kind of like a comedy of
Who's got the biggest money? I mean, who's got the funding?
well,
They're
who's
gonna
got the
come
biggest,
off.
I don't know what you want to call it, the biggest something or other kind of
Yeah,
thing. So,
so-
and I know NAR is big, but Department of
We're
Justice
not
probably
gonna
got a bigger
win.
punch kind of
Yep,
thing on there, but we'll see what
unfortunately.
that. But if you do see that coming out, this is just kind of a big whizzing match, in my opinion, right now. I'm
Well,
not sure which way
honestly,
we're
as
going
a
with it.
realtor member, I thank you out to, this is why our pack is for. So please be informed and vote.
Yep. So our single family rents have grown at the fastest pace in 16 years. Now we talk about this, or we talked about the number of first time buyers. If you're not buying a home, where are you going to? You're going into rents, but look at these are the top 20 markets in the United States. Gosh, look who's number 9 on there, number 8. And you can see the purple line, that was where rent increases were last year, but that light brown orangey
Pink.
line, pink, I think
It looks pink.
pink, that's fine.
Pink.
Guys can't tell colors, right? Anyway, but you can see how much that has really shot up, kind of thing. And so rents are really increasing. And if we really care about home ownership, we really care about folks building wealth in the United States, then we have to get them out of rentals and into home ownership. It really is important. Look at how much rents are now outpacing property value increases. So
Absolutely.
the days of being able to well, I'll just rent until
Well, the
prices drop.
investor are not going
It's not
to
happening.
lose money. I mean, come on.
So this is here in Georgia, or I'm sorry, in Atlanta, and you can kind of see what's kind of gone overall. This is what our rental rate has been, and you can kind of see what rental rates have been. It's currently in the Atlanta market. The average rent is $1,872. Now, you can see what the rental rates have run from January 2015 all the way to now, and you can see where it really did spike earlier. It is down about 2%. From over the last couple of months, but still we're seeing a really steady trend of this thing just continuing to shoot along here. Zillow. Now, of course, for those of us in the industry, everybody's heard that Zillow has stopped buying. And is this a sign that the iBuyer, that it's the death of the iBuyer? No, it isn't. I mean, we wish it was. We're definitely no fans of Zillow iBuying and that kind of stuff. But there are some, we kind of also got to understand that, just like any other company, Zillow has some challenges of their own kind of thing. So Zillow has paused their buying program basically while they sell off inventory. So the first thing I want to say about that is, if it wasn't working so good, how they end up with so much stinking inventory. So obviously they've got a ton of inventory they have to work through out there right now. So the other thing is that, with prices starting to level off, what do you think happens to Zillow? I mean, when for Zillow, if you could buy a property and in 3 months it was going up 3 and 4% in a quarter, you hang on to it for 3 months and you just made 5% on that. In addition, they're charging fees between 10 and 22%. Now, as inflation goes up, what do you think folks are going to start looking at with those fees? So all of a sudden, that's going to do there. But they're sitting on top of a ton of inventory right now. Zillow currently has around 3,000 homes valued at about $1.2 billion. So Zillow offers for them is very cash heavy. I mean, $1.2 billion for an individual company. I don't care how big you are. That's a lot of money out there, kind of thing.
They need to unload that. They've got to unload that.
So we will see Zillow back. We're not seeing Zillow go away. The Zillow iBuyer program and that kind of thing. Again, I'm not a fan, but
they just restructuring.
I think everyone's like, "Woo, Zillow going away." They're not going away. They're just taking a pause. And so I wish they would go away. Don't get me wrong, but it is what it is, right there, kind of thing.
But it is interesting. Sometimes it's got to be, I see as a monopoly. So they got to be careful how they move because
Ming's really not a fan. Yeah, that's really what that means. All right. So this week in training. So tomorrow, my lovely bride is going to be teaching code of ethics over at the airport office. That is only in person. She is not doing that virtually as well because doing virtual on there is tough. So that's only going to be in person. Come by the Atlanta office kind of thing. And so that is at 9:30. On Wednesday, we have a Halloween potluck. Costume. Here in the McDonough office. On Thursday, I'm teaching in Noonan. I'm teaching fast top dollar home sales with staging. Staging is always important. The better the house looks, the more money it's worth, kind of thing. And so I'm doing that in person and Zoom out in our Noonan office, but I'd love for you to come join me on the Noonan office. And then Friday, Mello up at the airport office is hosting our Halloween party. And that's at 6:30, and I'm pretty sure that there may be an adult beverage or two there as well.
You think?
Yes. All right. We are doing the Success Summit replays in all of our offices. We encourage you to come in, meet up with any of the branch managers, and they will set you up on doing any of the role play. I mean, any of the replays.
For those of you who have missed certain segments due to work or whatever it is, we would like for you to catch up and also get caught up and start your 2022 with a bang.
And then if you need some more me time, if we can be of any kind of service, please, max1.rock/chat. We always hang on there afterwards in case somebody just wants to, it's just kind of open forum, chit chat, pettywhack, that kind of stuff, just whatever. So we hope that you guys have a really amazing week. I hope you get a lot of stuff done. If we can be of any service, call, text, smoke signals. We answer it all. Have a great week.
Happy Halloween week.
Halloween.